This podcast provides a platform for our guests to share their experiences and inspire our listeners to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. As you listen, we invite you to explore how these concepts apply to your own story. You know what to do. Be great and be grateful. We're mic'd up with Mike DiCioccio. Hey guys, to say my guest today is multi-talented would be an absolute understatement. She is an actress, singer, recording artist, dancer, choreographer, TV host, and personality, starring on TV shows such as Silicon Valley, Switched at Birth, The Parkers, Seventh Heaven, My Wife and Kids, Boston Public, and so many more. To name a few highlights, she also appeared as Rachel in the Disney Channel original movie Pixel Perfect. She showcased her comedic skills when she was cast by Nick Cannon on the hit MTV sketch comedy show Wild and Out. She appeared in the comedy Janky Promoters alongside Mike Epps and Ice Cube, and she starred in many TV commercials as well as celebrity guest correspondent on the Maury Show. Stay tuned for her new show coming out on Netflix with Jamie Foxx. Before we run out of time and I run out of breath, let me bring to you a very special guest. Welcome to the show, the one and only Porscha Coleman.
Woo, woo, woo. Hey, how are you?
How did I do? Did I do okay there?
That's a long intro. You did a good job. I take my hats off to you. It's good.
Yeah, I tried to shorten these things up. Yours was like half of a book.
Sorry about that. I plan on adding so much more, but yes, it's a little lengthy, but good job.
You look like you're on a comfortable couch. I'm surprised you didn't take a nap in between that thing, and you could have had.
No, I'm on LA time, so it's a little earlier here. So no, I'm good. Like earlier, I was like doing laundry and running errands. So no, I'm good. I'm chilling on my nice couch now, and then I'm back at it after we're done. Yeah.
I want to talk about, because you mentioned off camera when we were connecting to do this interview that you're also doing some voiceover work in the morning too, right?
So fun.
So we want to talk about that, but what I want to get into, first of all, guys, I'm sure you recognize this face, right? Porscha Coleman. Did you catch it in the bio? She's been on almost everything you can name, including other. I didn't even get into the music videos. I mean, you've been all over the place in music videos as well. Shout out to our mutual friend Omega Red, Robert Grant.
Hey, yes, right. I was
connected in his video. Us. He is a connector of people, man. He just keeps delivering with a bunch of connections for me. Guys, you can follow Porscha on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's very simple. At Porscha Coleman. It's Porscha Coleman. Her website is PorschaColeman.com. And she's here on Mic'd Up, and I'm so excited to have you.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Let's chat.
Yeah. So when did this whole thing begin? Take us all the way back to the beginning. Yeah. Did you always pursue the entertainment business, or was there like someone in your life when you were young that you looked up to that was in the field? How'd that start?
Both. The answer to that is yes and yes. I mean, my very first job, I was a kid in the movie Friday. Like, if you guys go watch that ice cream truck scene right next to Megan Good, getting slapped upside the head by Chris Tucker. So I had been acting for a while.
That's when you knew you're going to make it. You're like, Chris Tucker smacked me in the back.
Oh, yeah. I was so happy. I was like, I don't have to go to school today. And Chris Tucker smacked me in the head to get to the ice cream truck. I was happy. So I've always been a ham, for one. I've always been performing and singing. My older brother had friends that would come to the house, and, he was a football player. So like all his friends, like to me, were like this really big buff guys, and we're 17 years apart. So, these guys would come and I would want to entertain. And, I would be like, Mom, can I go sing? Can I go perform? Can I go do something for him? And she's like, if you want to. And sure enough, I would go put on little outfits and sing songs and do little sketches. And one of his friends one time gave me $20. And I was like, $20 to like a kid at 5, 6 is like, whoa, are you serious? I said, I can get paid to do this? What? Next thing you know, I was in acting classes because my aunt and my uncle are also actors. Done a lot of acting jobs, from TV shows, commercials as a husband and wife. And I booked in 3 national commercials, like back to back. And then straight from there, I joined SAG within a couple months, and I've been rocking and rolling ever since. So Were
you born and raised right in Los Angeles?
Yeah, born and raised.
You had that environment was around you.
Exactly. It's so rare. I mean, I was born right in Van Nuys, raised in North Hollywood and Sherman Oaks. I went to Hollywood High School Performing Arts, Milton Middle School Performing Arts. So this is truly all I've ever done. And I've never had to have the 9 to 5 where I had to split my time between acting and music and working. So no, this is all I've ever done. So
and I can tell by the big smile on your face that you've enjoyed every second of it too. Because
I do. I mean, I love it. It's like, yeah, it's fun. It's so much fun.
I love it. I wanted to move out to California really since I was a little guy because I was an aspiring movie director. I love Spielberg and just the big motion pictures. And my uncle's actually he lives in Sherman Oaks. He's been there for many years.
Oh, cool.
He does digital engineering.
Nice.
I'll share this quick story. So last time I have to go visit him again. He was recently in Buffalo, unfortunately, because my grandmother passed. It's his mom. So he came to Buffalo for that. But I told him that, hey, man, next time I'm coming to see you, come out to Sherman Oaks and hang out.
Yeah.
The last time I was there was it was 2008. So that's been a while, right? 12 years ago.
Wow.
And I remember I'm in college at the time, right? So what was I? Just was a college grad at that time, or senior year. Fly out to go visit him. He picks me up. I thought he was going to take me to his nice house and we're going to kind of check out the neighborhood. He takes me directly. He was working in the Sony lot. The same music stage where all the Star Wars music was recorded. God. And I remember just like walking in there and nobody was in there. It was all the post-production guys, him and his crew. And they were working. It was a regular day and he must have taken the day off to pick me up or whatever. And I didn't expect that. I thought we were going to go check the neighborhood. Here I am on set, and everyone was cool. They just treated me like just.
That's the neighborhood out here. That's the thing. I mean, in the Valley areas, like you said, Sherman Oaks or Burbank or, Hidden Hills. There's so many different areas to go to out here that are like, just amazing to someone who's never been here before. And like, we take it for granted. We'll drive down the street and like, this happens all the time. Driving down the street and all of a sudden I look to my right. I'm like, oh, it's Jelena. Hey, Jay.
Hey, Jay, what's up, man? Yeah, different car today. Very nice. He's got about 700.
Right. And I worked on his show before. So like when he was right by me, I was like, hey, I worked on your show before. Like, cause I was actually doing sketch comedy certain times when I would get hired either as a dancer or to be in some of the sketches. And one time we had the funniest sketch where he was hired to play like Snoop Dogg and I was hired as like the dancer girl. We were recreating California Girls by Katy Perry. So when it was a girl who looked just like Katy Perry and the gag was Snoop was coming on the show. So like, he didn't do blackface or anything like that, but he had like these cornrows that were made out of like candy. And then I was like the lead video girl. So like I worked with him a lot. So,
is that something I can dig up? Because I want to see Jay Leno playing Snoop. I mean,
it's so funny. And he was just doing a rap. Like he was lip syncing the rap. Like Jay Leno's thing on his show, no different than how, Jimmy Kimmel does sketches or how, James Corden does sketches. Yeah. His thing was also being in his own sketches, recreating stuff since he's just so good at that. So he literally just had all the girls around and he had the little candy cornrows, and it was to die for. So again, that's just LA. You'll be driving down the street, you'll see Snoop. I mean, I've been in a gas station and I saw Jason Statham. I'm like, oh my God, love him.
Yeah.
Like,
did he have the look on his face like he was about to fight 8 guys and like save the world?
I say that's his resting, it's a BITCH face. He's a resting bitch face. Like, and it's funny, but he's cool. And I was like, hey, Jason, I love your work. And he was like, hey, thank you. I'm like, like that's
don't mention it.
Like,
yeah. No, I just remember being there on that. I believe it was Sony, right?
Yeah.
And it was where the original John Williams score was recorded for old school Star Wars. I just remember being like, it was like standing in the middle of Yankee Stadium, like the old.
Oh yeah,
Yankee
it's a big
Stadium.
thing. Yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah, that's
so
cool.
Who would you say though? I mean, you have all these people around you. Your aunt and uncle are in the business. You have people. Yeah. All your neighbors are in it some way. Not all actors or actresses or dancers and stuff. But was there someone that just inspired you that you were like, man, I just follow in her footsteps or his footsteps or a role model maybe?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it'd have to be like family. So the same aunt and uncle that I'm telling you about were also musicians. My mother was a musician. Like I come from a musical background. So aunts, uncles, grandmother, everyone was in music. So they actually were known in LA before I was even born, like in the 70s. Like they were killing the music game. They were performing locally and then they went overseas and had a huge fan base. So it's like I kind of started into it in the side of music because that's what they were always doing. I would go to their shows and I'd be watching and my mom wasn't even realizing I was studying everything that they were doing. I was watching and listening. And my mom was the one who was like, well, she's a ham. Let's just see how it goes. And, it takes that, for someone to see a kid and say, okay, they might have something here. Let's see if they like to do it. So My
I think
mom
there's
always
a lot of
said,
value there that I think
yeah,
maybe gets overlooked a lot is simply being in the environment,
it
that fly
does.
on the wall
That's so
mentality,
true.
and then a
Yeah,
sponge. And then when it's your moment to shine, you're like, I'm not really that afraid of this because I've
I
seen
got
everyone
this.
else do it. It's my turn. Can I get in there
Exactly.
and
And
play a little bit? I want to get in the
that's true.
sandbox and get dirty.
Yeah, that's one thing that I was never shy. Like my
Yeah.
mom said, you were 5 times more outgoing than I was. Because my mom is like naturally shy a little bit. She's
Mhm.
outgoing. Give her a drink or two. She's popping. but like with me, it's like I was always just like, oh, look what I can do. Or you want to see this? You want to
Yeah.
see that? And sure enough, it just manifested into that after them. Taking me and to just I just went to an acting class, and next thing you know, at the end of the acting class, I got an agent. Because the agent was like, "Oh, you're good. I could remember lines. I could do impressions. I could do impersonations. I could do all that kind of good
Yeah.
stuff." So therefore, it's just like you're born into it, and living right here in LA it couldn't gotten any better. So it was a blessing.
I want to
Yeah.
say though, again, your bio is tremendous, but the fact that you're like a Swiss Army knife too, and I mean that in a good way. I know sometimes there's
Yeah.
this saying of like Jack of all trades, master of none, or Jill of all trades, master
Right.
of none.
Of course.
In your case, that I didn't I left that out of the bio because I didn't want it to be like a negative. But
Right.
you are actually like a Swiss Army knife, meaning you can go on a show and have a comedic role and be goofy. You can be
Right.
serious. You can be a dancer, like look in your top game. Like,
Absolutely.
you have all these different things you can do. So let me ask you, what do you feel your number one superpower is? Like, what's the thing where you say, I can deliver the most and this is it?
Of course.
Is it something
You
that
know what?
shines?
I would have to say the number one superpower out of all the traits that I have.
Mhm.
For one, I mean, improvisation. Like you can give me a scene, or not even just a scene. You could say, okay, here's the context. You're a girl who was born in Missouri. She has 2 children, and her dad just walked out on her, but her kids have a laughing disorder. Like I'm literally that person where I can just automatically go, boom, okay, got it.
Mhm.
And I can just go into a
In role.
character of what
Yeah,
that
in
is,
character.
And then my
Uh-huh.
other superpower I would think would have to be music. I think a lot of people can learn how to act and you can teach them certain traits of acting and how to deliver a performance, but you can't teach everyone how to sing. And
Mhm.
I do feel like the roles that I have got that were music based, but that still stemmed from acting, I outshined a lot of the people because I was able to go in there and kill an acapella song and then all of a sudden say, okay, now it's time for the scene. Let's do
Yeah,
it. I mean, I
and
did
then
that
you're
on the
doing a
Parkers.
goofy comedy tomorrow. Like, wow,
Right.
that's his
I did that on the
versatility.
Parkers. On the Parkers, it was like they wanted someone who was like in their late 20s. And here I am, like 16, 17 years old. So I'm like, dang, I know I'm young, but I was already emancipated. So I already had my degree. So it's like, okay, they didn't have to fool me on set. So, I knew that, okay, let me go in there, perform a song. I did that. And I said, let me hit this acting scene. And I found out that I beat like 3 singer girls that I could even tell you right now where you're like, oh, wow, but they didn't have acting experience. So it's worked in my favor on shows like Wild and Out too, where they said they wanted a comedian, but what else can you do? And next thing you know, I'm like, I'll rap, I'll sing, what you want. And it always helped me stand above the rest.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm honored to have you on the show, number one. And then
Yeah, thank
2,
you.
the mission of my show, I mentioned it to you when we connected, is to inspire people to be, and I usually get into this later in the show, but I want to kind of start here or get into it earlier, is to inspire people to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. You've done that from a young age. So if you could talk to someone and say like, get in there, go and do it. What would your kind of your messaging be based on what you've learned, and you've been doing this your whole life? So what would you share with our audience? I don't care if they're an auto mechanic, an insurance agent, singer.
Yeah. You have to, for one, you have to always follow your passion. And I think a lot of people in life distract you from your passion. I mean, I've seen it, you may have wanted to record a certain song and people are like, nah, I don't like this song for you. And then you convince yourself that it's not good. And I think I've been guilty of that in a lot of instances, taking someone else's opinion and really riding with it when my opinion might have been different. You have to live with your actions and the results that may come from it. So if you know that you want something so bad and that you're not going to be satisfied until you get it, then you have to get that first. So for me, when it came to television, it was like, I knew I could host in my sense. I'm like, oh, I could like kind of do that. I'm personable. I can interview people. Like I'm talkative. And next thing you know, I was putting together my own reels. Like that's another thing too that people don't know about me. People that know me, I'm very techie. I'm very technologically savvy. So any reel that you've seen online, I edited every, if it was a music clip, I did it. I can engineer myself.
Yeah.
I can record myself. Like
Yeah.
I'm very much of that computer nerdy kind of girl. And this was when VHS tapes were out. You know what I'm saying? I would take the VHS and then I'd spend hundreds of dollars to go have someone edit it. And I'm like, wait, I can do this. Let me just figure out the software. And next thing you know, I learned how to be my own person. So you have to be really self-contained a lot of times when it comes to your craft, you know, because especially right now in the state of COVID, right now, everybody has to do stuff from their house because auditions are not happening. And if they are, they're happening right here online. The casting places are closed, but there's castings every single day online. So you have to master other art forms and the business of whatever your craft is. It's show for sure, show business, but the business should come before the show. Because if your business isn't right, there will be no show.
Right. Yeah. So, I think another thing too, your versatility helps you in a state of this where it's a pandemic, it's a panic situation.
Yeah.
When you're ready for so many different things and you can learn and adapt quickly, which you taught yourself editing, you know, so now you're told, okay, we got to do auditions from home. Some people are probably freaking out. Oh, I'm not used to that.
My God.
And you're just like, okay, let's do it. Can we do it now? How about now?
Yeah.
You know?
They're tripping out because it's a different ball game now. Yeah. And that's how it's going to be for a while. It might not go back.
Tell us about that, because obviously the pandemic's still going on. When we're recording this is going to come out in a few weeks. It's very real still. COVID is still a very scary thing. I think some people are maybe not taking that as seriously too. You know, I actually have friends and family that have been affected by it. So it is a real thing. We got to address it the way it is. But it's obviously impacting, and I have a small business, social media marketing, production, podcast production business. So we're on hold with a lot of projects as well. So I completely get it. But on set, there's so many people. So how is that operationally right now? Is it completely shut down, or is there a little bit that they can do now that it's like the 6 foot rule is in play? Can you still operate at all?
Absolutely. I think I've only done one, and it was like a hosting gig, and it was a very small operation. It was myself, one host, the audio guy, the camera person, and basically the set director. It was not even 6 people. They all had masks on. Me and my host, I knew him for years. We actually were in chairs, like separated. And the whole point of what we were doing was like a telethon almost. It was basically live, where we were accepting donations for entertainers, actors, writers, producers, and everyone that are affected by this, because, you know, think of all the TV shows that are not in production right now. Great. You got to think of the heat grip. You got to think of the lighting. You got to think of the wardrobe designer. There's so many people that are affected at this time, and we don't have a return date. Like I have a TV show that I'm like sitting here saying, well, I don't know when we're coming back, because the numbers are really high in LA, and the numbers are getting high in several states all across the US. So they don't want to risk us just because they want to get back to shooting right now. That's not an essential thing to do right this second.
Sure. Yeah, so, or you get going. I mean, the same thing with sports and everything else. I mean, you know, America is starved for what we're built on. You know,
of course,
like it's a pastime, entertainment. The distraction too is definitely needed right now. But at the same time, you know, and this is the way I feel about it too, is it is better to be safe than sorry, because if you go into it, like my brother and sister-in-law live in Tampa.
Okay. Oh my God.
He works at a comedy club. My brother's a stand-up comedian, and he also does sound at a comedy club down there called Side Splitters. And they're finally kind of back in action and everything. And people came out first day that they were open. Place was jamming. And like most people,
were here too.
Most people didn't have masks on, or just even consider being, you know, safe. And then now the numbers are coming out, and it's getting scary. And now all of a sudden he said that people are backing off and they're playing it safe. And it's like, how can you not be, you have to do some of that yourself. You can't you're not like an animal that just says, here's the cheese. No, now we're only going to give you a little bit of cheese. You have to be like mindful enough to say, maybe I should cool it a little bit.
So the clubs have been crazy. And I haven't been to any of them. Trust and believe. I'm talking about, I saw a friend of mine on Instagram. He was in Phoenix, and this club was packed. Bottle girls were coming out. They had sprinklers, sparklers, you name it. They did have masks on, but nobody in the actual spot had masks on. And I'm like, there was a couple hundred people all side by side turning up, drinking. I just like nothing happened. And I'm like, I love people. I'm social, but I am not going to be at a club. I'm not going to be chilling at a whole, like at a concert, none of that right now, because even though I feel like that whatever you want to believe, like I said, something is absolutely going on. And I think my thing has been people need to be smart. For one, like you said, be smart, social distance, but also you got to be healthy. You got to take your herbs. You got to take, like, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I never have. So for me, my body has always been my temple. I drink every single day. I mean, for probably the last 10 or 15 years, turmeric, garlic, echinacea, folic acid, vitamin C.
Here you go, guys. Anyone listening to this that's wondering the secret and how you look like Porscha,
yeah. I mean, that's honestly the truth. So I really think, especially when it comes to something like a virus, this is what this is, a virus, you have to build your immune system up enough to where you're not susceptible to getting a virus. And that's what it is. So it's like, if you think of, we've all come in contact with someone who's had a cold, a flu, who knows what else, and you've either shook their hand or hugged them and different things have occurred, but you didn't catch anything because your body, again, was fighting off the viruses that we're always around every day. I mean, the pollen in the air alone is full of crap. I mean, the chemtrails in the air, there's so many things. So, being safe and being smart is what people have to do. But if you're just going to, go out party, not wear a mask, and then wonder why you get sick, that's just stupid.
Well, I just want to add to that too. And I don't want to go too much on this, but it's obviously relevant.
That's a whole different show.
It's that could be a whole nother show, but
absolutely.
Something that does worry me a little bit, and this is why I think it's better to ease into it, is we've all been quarantined, which means our immune system has been weakened because it's been fighting off stuff. So now you're saying, okay, let's weaken your immune system. You're quarantined. Then we're going to reintroduce you into the world with a new thing that your body's never seen, most likely, unless you've gotten it in the past. You didn't know. So why would you want to run into that instead of ease into it? And then if you get sick, you can back off and go into
Exactly. You are speaking exactly the proper language.
Which is why maybe it's not being picked up and people aren't.
Of course, but you're saying everything that I love that you're talking about, because the truth of the matter is that, I do feel a way in a sense about masks, only because if you're going to be home, not out, not getting vitamin D and making your body, susceptible to catching something, when you go out, then you have the mask on. People are wearing them 24 hours a day, or let's say even if they're wearing it 18 hours a day, barring when they're going to sleep. It's like you are taking the own oxygen in your body and the own chemicals that we naturally, exude out of our body just from breathing and keeping them trapped in something like this. In the car, they're wearing when they're eating. It's too much. So I think in a sense, yes, telling people to wear masks and cover their mouth makes sense if they're going to be out doing something. But at the same time, you have to also think of the precaution that you're going to be taking by wearing the mask 24, all that time. You're going to get yourself sick even if you're not. So I really think the numbers are climbing based on that too. So again, like you said, it's a whole other show because I love talking health and fitness. So we could do that another day.
No, I think that's great. Do you want to can you hit on that again? I'm glad we went there because I've actually been better as far as what I'm putting into my body too. Because you called it a temple. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Absolutely.
Our bodies are a machine though. At the end of the day, you wouldn't put garbage. You wouldn't take and smush into like the DeLorean in the future where it actually did run on garbage and all kinds of weird stuff. Our body, like our car, we wouldn't do that, right? We want to put you want to protect it, gasoline in it, so it gets us to where we want to go. So why with their bodies do a lot of people put, sugars and all kinds of crazy stuff? I know. Now look, I enjoy candy as much as anyone else, but now I'm being more mindful of if I'm going to have it. It's a little bit. It's once in a while. Your body can kind of handle that, but
it can handle it
every day. Your body's just like taking that in as a food group,
Oh my gosh. Like your body is like, it is like a car. Like every few months, you got to get your oil change. You got to put water in there. You got to clean your car. Your car gets dirty. Everything needs maintenance. A tree, it needs watering to grow. So the same with your body. It's like, you cannot make your body a dump truck or a cesspool for stuff because again, you are going to be susceptible to catching any little thing that your body comes in contact with. When as kids, our bodies are building up immunity and all these kind of defenses to fight off natural things that are just a part of our daily life. But again, if you're eating bad, if your liver is clogged up, your liver is the thing that's in your body that really controls all of the bad stuff that you eat. Right. So you need to get, even colonics. I recommend.
It's literally like a filter. for
It's
all
your
the stuff.
filter. So you have to clean the filter out. You have to be using the restroom. If you're eating 3 times a day and you're only going to the bathroom every few days, then that's going to cause a backup of toxins in your body. And I've seen it. It's like my grandmother died of colon cancer. My uncle had a stroke because he had high blood pressure. Another uncle passed away. And these people were not overweight. It had nothing to do with their weight. I mean, sadly, I lost my own father last year at 59 years old, and coming to find out he had high cholesterol. And it's like, okay, so you can do things that can lower stuff like that. And it's unfortunate because those things add up. And if you're not taking care of it when you're young, that's why all of a sudden people look old, because it's like, oh, that body's not, it's not turning that around.
Isn't it amazing when you see someone who's 60 years old who looks 35 and a 35-year-old who looks 50?
Who looks 50? And you're like, oh my gosh. Like,
they're like limping, Now, look, there's going to be certain things that happen. And again, I'm glad we're going here, because you know what? That's what the show is all about. There is no this is here, but this is only here.
And
we're going to get back on track. But what I think was really good to say too is, obviously it's the mindset behind it, but something that's interesting I want to say here, and I might get some flack for this, but when you're thinking about eating healthy and getting healthy substitutes and doing things more naturally too, you got to research it mostly yourself. It's not something you're always going to hear from a doctor, because let's be real. Don't they want you to come in and doesn't the industry want you to spend money on drugs that are going to supplement and everything else? Correct. So if you want to do it holistically, then you need to start educating yourself. But guess what? We live in 2020, a time when everything is a click away on your phone, Google. There's no excuse. There's no more. You can't be ignorant anymore. There's not. Ignorance.
Exactly. Ignorance is a choice. And that's how I feel too. It's like every time you look at the news, oh my God, the numbers are skyrocketing. Oh my God, this many people have something. And it's like, I just wish, because again, it's not that they could be fabricating the numbers. I feel that way too. They can be fabricating, because we don't know. We're not sitting there seeing them, watching them say this person has it, they don't have it, what testing is going on. Because I know they're getting paid to say that people have it too. I've heard all kinds of things.
I know.
But what you can do is put yourself in a position of saying, okay, if this is going around, I don't know it, I can't see it, I can't feel it. What do I have to do for myself? Google. How do you avoid catching a virus? They're going to say black seed oil. They're going to say garlic. They're going to, it's stuff that you can buy for a couple bucks on Amazon. Yeah. So I wish that the media was talking more about that stuff, about how to make yourself healthier, to where if you come in contact with a virus, you can ward it off. But like you said, they make a lot of money in the doctor's office.
It's a fear-based industry.
Fear-based operation, 1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, so you got, obviously it's understanding, just knowing that that's why they're going there.
Yes.
So when you're, if you're educated enough to understand what you're being sold, it's just going into a store,
I like where you're coming from.
Someone's selling you something at the store, you don't even need or want, they're just doing it for whatever reason, their own self-fulfilling. But someone could either fall for the trap, or you can be educated enough to understand this is baloney. And look, it's there. It's not going away, but you have the choice to tune into it. We have the choice to put things in our brain every day. How do you do it? Well, guess what? The reason I'm doing this show is to give more positivity into the universe.
Information.
People can learn information from Porscha or from my other 34 plus guests. And you can learn things that you can apply to your business, to your career, whether you're a musician, everything. And look, I don't claim to have the answers. That's why I have guests on my show, so I can bring them on. I learn from them. You guys learn from them through this microphone and through my guest microphone. And it's so much fun. And like, I wish more of this stuff would get out. And I do know podcasting is cranking right now, which is exciting, because that means people are getting an alternate way of information. They're not just going to the back in the day, it was 3 stations. You turned it physically on a knob. I'm sure you had maybe one of those when you were a kid, right?
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Getting back on track, something we have in common that we both, and I did my homework here, we both love the 90s.
Hey!
We love the 90s.
Love the 90s.
Music, great TV shows, movies. It was the best decade ever, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I know why I love it. I want to hear why you love the 90s.
Oh my gosh. The 90s to me are, for one, musically, hands down, I think by far the best. I think from, the TLCs to Jodeci to, oh my gosh, all the boy groups from Boys to Men.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it, just because the music was so organic.
Did you have
like
Columbia House? Do you remember Columbia House?
No.
Okay, it was where like you subscribed and you would get a new.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! And they send the DVD. Yes, I totally remember that.
Mail every month. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We had I have an older sister, so she was Alanis Morissette and TLC.
All that. Yeah.
I remember we were busting my cousin's chops. I'm not gonna say who it is, but if he is listening, he'll laugh. I was maybe 10, 12 years old. He was a year or two older than me. We're going through his collection. He lived in Pittsburgh, so my brother and I were traveling and hanging out. And we're going through, and it was like Metallica and all these things we were listening to. TLC, I'm like, what? He's like, Waterfall. Who doesn't love this song? He's not wrong, though. It's a great hit.
The music that you hear and come across, it felt so good. And I love it because the 90s was really, it was about love, but then it was also still about power. A lot of the rap groups were coming out, in the 90s, you had LL and you had the Ice Cubes and all that were still doing their thing. So it's like we had such a great mix of definitely groups. And then you have, Tony Braxton's, and then a lot of solo singers. I mean, the Whitneys and Anita Bakers. It's like, and seeing that my mother, she was 35 when she had me. And then my brother was 17 years older than I was always listening to music that was well before my time, just because the age range. So I could be listening to TLC, or New Edition because of my brother, but then my mom pops in Anita Baker or Luther Vandross, or it's just different. So I just love that. And then TV shows you can't touch. Come on, Martin and Live in Color, and I mean Cheers. So many shows that were just iconic and classic that we're still watching and digging up today, and people are bringing back to life.
There's
because
a reason they're in syndication 30 years later. Yeah.
There's a reason why. And everything now, even musically, that you hear stems from the 90s.
I'm going to tell you another quick story I think you'll love. Do you remember the band or the group Crisscross?
Of course, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Jump.
Of course.
Okay. So I'm like 6 to 8 years old. Parents take me to Pizza Hut. They used to have in Pizza Hut. They used to have where you can go, for a quarter, basically.
Of course.
You could pick your tune, right, in the jukebox. My parents, now, my dad's a big fan of like Elvis and Sinatra and this and that.
Of course,
My mom is a little bit of a hippie, so she likes Zeppelin and some cool classic rock and stuff. They did not picture little Mikey going up to the jukebox with their quarter playing Jump by Crisscross. Their jaws were on the ground, and I knew every word. I don't know the words anymore, but I love that song.
Of course.
I always get loose on the dance floor at any wedding. Another Jump song, is it House of Pain?
Oh yeah, of course.
Jump, right?
Jump, yeah, absolutely.
How do you not? That was in Happy Gilmore when I think I might have caught it for the first time.
How do you not? And that's what I loved about the music too. It was so danceable. As someone who dances and choreographs, when you heard songs and saw the videos, they were
1, 2, 3, 4 by Coolio.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and then even when I meet some of these artists later on, like I'm a fan of theirs, because I'm like, you understand, like I grew up watching you, but like now you're like my friend. Like Too Short, huge rapper from like all the way back in the day. He's like same as my brother's age now. And then you meet him and hang out with him, and you're like, oh my God, you're just like, you're normal. You're like a regular person. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand about even the celeb life. It's like those same people that you idolize and that you watch are just like you. So treat them like that. And I love that now, especially like getting on topic, how you were talking about how to do things now in this time. You can connect with your favorite celebrities on social media. You can do things on your own because you have a TV, you have a computer, you have a phone. We didn't have that when I was getting started. Like when I had to get to my agent, I had a pager. My mom had a beeper. And as soon as that pager number said my agent's number, we knew call the agent, because they had to call us with the information. You had to write it down for the casting.
Yeah.
You had to say, well, what's the address? Okay, there was no map. There was no map quest.
Right.
It was like my mom opened up her map book and was like, okay.
Word for it. Yeah.
It's different.
I want to stay in the 90s because there's two things I want to say about it.
Okay.
First of all, whether it was hip hop, which, as you know, I do like some hip hop.
Yeah.
And I love grunge rock, alternative. I also, funny enough, you mentioned that like your older brother showed you some music from about 20
Yeah.
years earlier. So I'm the youngest of three, but we're only a couple years apart. So my sister, you know, she was born in 82, brother in 83, and I was 86.
Okay.
So we're all kind of
it's right there.
Influence.
Yeah.
But I also, at 10 years old, was listening to Led Zeppelin and, you know, the Beatles and all kinds of stuff that just was naturally in my blood. My uncle got a couple records for us. I say records, but it was CDs for Christmas.
Oh, cool. Of course.
Uncle I talked about earlier. He was a drummer back in the day. I drummed for a while. I still can drum.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm actively drumming right now. So I love like classic rock, especially great drummers like Mitch Mitchell with that drum.
Yeah.
Love Jimi Hendrix. And so I share that because my influences were from the 60s and also the 90s. And what I love about the 90s is they took a lot of elements from that and they kind of recreated it. Like grunge is based on kind of classic rock, but just kind of dirtied it up a little bit, but has like the catchy.
It does.
Like listen to Stone Temple Pilots and tell me they don't write catchy songs. I mean,
of course, absolutely. I mean, a ton of those artists, like I said, pulled from hip hop, pulled from rock from hip hop. It was all intertwined. That's what I did love about it.
Rage Against the Machine, one of my favorite.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, Rage Against the Machine was awesome.
Zach De La Rocca.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Am I saying it right? Is it Zach De La Rocca or Rocca? The singer.
I think it's like Rocca. I mean, I don't know. It sounds sexy either way, like Rocca or Rocca.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it. You got to roll the R.
Kind of roll the R. So
I will say this though. What I'm getting at is all these different bands: Rage Against the Machine, Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, Soundgarden. They all were big at the same time.
Oh, I loved Soundgarden. Oh my God.
Guess what, Porscha? They all were different.
Of course.
Now I feel like I hate to say it, but you catch a song on Instagram.
They all sound the same
on Spotify, and it's
all
you got to look. You got to look to see who it is. But when Big Bang Baby came on by STP, you knew it was Scott Weiland singing.
Yeah, it's different. It's. I agree. The sound has kind of blurred together. Even though I do like how different a lot of music is from the tracks and like some certain beats. Like I think music is just worldwide now. I mean, look at all the charts that they have. When you look to see who's number one on, I mean, there's dance charts, there's EDM charts, there's Latin charts, there's audio. There's instrumental. There's so many different charts now and different outlets for people to find music, which is great. But I do feel in a certain aspect of music, sometimes in the hip hop world, a lot of the tracks sound the same. So you're like, okay, so then you're relying on, okay, well, what artist is that? And you're trying to see if the tone is different or if the ad libs are different or if he raps fast, if he raps slow. It's like little things like that are what help you differentiate certain artists. But like you said, I do feel it was a lot easier back in the day because you knew the sound once you heard it and it was different.
Totally agree with you. And another thing too is it was probably the last era where you'd listen to the whole album. I remember like I'd pop the CD in and I would listen to the whole thing in my bedroom, whether I was going to work or whatever. Or when you're driving, you would just let whatever you turn the car off at, you got back and let it keep going.
And it would let it keep going.
All these different hits. It's one band could have one song you like and then you go on to the next.
And then you go on to the next one. I mean, especially
I have
Spotify, Apple Music.
I remember opening the artwork. You got to look at it.
Oh, I used to love that. I used to look at like, who wrote that? Even though now I still go always to song credits just to see who wrote certain stuff. But the days of, like we said, the paperback, going to buy the CD, me waiting at Amoeba, me going to the spot on Sunset to go buy a CD. It's like, I would wait in line for my favorite artist. Like when NSYNC came out, I was going to buy the NSYNC artwork, no strings attached. I was attached, all that kind of good stuff. It's like, it's just different. Now you just download it and it's like, it's there, but it comes up on your playlist and you just keep it pushing. So we just have like a different mentality when it comes to things now because things move so fast. There's so many artists. There's so many TV shows. We don't really give things the time and attention that they deserve a lot of times now because there's so many other options.
I don't want to sound like a grumpy old man. I love what's going on now too. There's a couple
grumpy old man.
Like Portugal the Man.
Yeah,
so cool. They're a newer band. Young the Giant is cool too. Like there's a couple. We got all the things that you're working on, the different videos you've been in. There's a lot of diversity now too. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely had a feel behind it and something that there was magic going on in the '90s, and it was like the last era where people were like celebrities. Like NSYNC, okay? That record came out. first one. I don't know what it's called. You probably remember. It
Oh,
was,
I mean, they had I want you back. Yeah, I want you back. I mean,
guess what? When that came out,
tearing up my heart, all that.
you didn't know what Justin Timberlake had for breakfast because he wasn't tweeting it. So what did it do? It had some mystique and mystery.
Exactly.
Behind. Now it's like, you know, I still love all these bands, but it's almost
story.
No one is like a rock star anymore because they're just overexposed, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
True. That's true.
No one knew what Kurt Cobain was thinking. Like he was quirky in a weird way. Mm-hmm. But I think if you knew, like if he had a camera on him 24/7, you would lose the excitement that you're tuning into.
Absolutely. It's very possible for sure.
So, all right, I'm off my 90s rocker now.
Yeah.
How about this? What's your favorite role that you played on any show or movie or anything you've done? Like, what did you just have something like, man, that was so much fun. I love doing that.
Absolutely. I think the most fun, I had fun on the Parkers, the show that I did. It feels like few days, the show was re-airing just because, I mean, Monique, talented actress, she won for Best Actress before. I mean, she's a comedian, but to see her in Precious and to have that kind of change in her was amazing. Even this was even prior to the, after the Parkers, I'm sorry.
Right.
The set being on the lot that I had always looked and passed by, and then I'm on it working now with my favorite comedian that I had always looked up to with other fellow Black comedians and actresses was kind of like empowering. The stars in the show were women. And then you had the dynamic on the show of her being obsessed with this guy that she loves so much. And here I come on the show, brand new girl, and they like welcome me with open arms. But it was like a challenge because I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm coming in here. I got to do my thing. And I was there for 2 weeks. And we shot several episodes of the show. And just to be there around them and just watch how they worked was really a good lesson. That's definitely one of the most fun. The Silicon Valley was hilarious. I loved working on that set because it's like, let's be real. There was no other Black girls on the show. Like I was the first one that had ever popped up, but definitely in season 1. Mm-hmm. And the role was so funny and just so like unapologetic. I loved it. And the same outfit that I wore in the show is what I auditioned in. So I'm like, people don't even realize that. That wasn't their work. It was definitely mine.
There you go.
So,
hey, you were in role. You were in character.
Yes, exactly. The dancer
you showed up. Hey, if I got the audition, if I won the role, I'm going to wear what I was wearing. Bingo.
That's what you have to do. You have to walk in a room knowing like I'm ready to film. And that's what you got to do. And I think that's why I've done well, because if they're saying that they want someone who is, they did. They said this girl is an exotic dancer that comes to the house. She's the entertainment for the guys they're celebrating the launch of their new app. So it's like, okay, well, they said she's an exotic dancer, so come in looking sexy and attractive. And I'm like, okay, so I wore fishnets. I had a bra top on. I had a little bikini bottom, and I was clothed. I came in with a jacket, and then it was time. Let's go. And they said, like, literally, like, you were really like one of the only girls that came in. It was like, just like ready. And it's like, you have to go in the room convincing someone that you're right for the role. And I think as an actor,
no nonsense. You hired the right girl. Yeah.
They'll put out a breakdown and they'll say any ethnicity, 25 to 45. Do you know how wide of a range that is? Any ethnicity, 25 to 45. That's half of LA. So if you walk in the door giving them kind of like as close to the description that they asked for, then you have better luck at getting it. And that's what I think I did for several roles that ended up just coming right to me. No different than Wild and Out. Like they wanted characters and they said, create a character and then do 2 celebrities. Sure enough, I did that. I created a character, and then it was a character this shows how long ago this was. It's when Flavor of Love was out. It was Flavor Flav's reality show. Okay. And one of the girls on the show was like, oh, she was so extra and her personality was just so out there. And I said, I'm going to be her. And sure enough, I did her. And a celebrity, I think I did Janet Jackson or somebody. Yeah. Next thing you know, I get a call and it's like, oh, hey, we want you to come down to the office or just come like around 8 or 9 in the morning. Just come ready to rock. And I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. I was there and the taping was the same day. I was like,
boom.
I'm ready to work. Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, gotcha. So it's like when you go in the door and do what you have to do, there's less doubt in regards to what you can do for the role. And that's why I think
ready. That's the most important thing in that story is that you were ready. It wasn't too big for you.
Ready.
You couldn't be caught off. When you're prepared, you can't be caught off guard.
Can't get caught off guard.
An athlete, you could be a quarterback. You got guys breathing down the neck ready to tap. If you prepared for that and that happens, what do you do? I've done this a million times. So it's amazing.
And I hate being caught off guard. Yeah, I like surprise. That's the thing. I love surprises, but I hate being caught off guard.
I want to talk about, I didn't have this planned either. That's why I love this. Love taking notes here too. I want to talk about auditions because I think a lot of people understand them, but many of us haven't been inside an audition like that. So I want to talk about that. I want to tell a funny story about JB Smoove when he was, I love JB Smoove. He's so funny.
Okay, yeah, he's so funny, yeah.
He told a story about when he was on Curb. And then I just got a bunch of things flying over here. What I want to do, though, is we're talking about you being in this audition, and then it went live all in the same day, right?
Yeah.
You're ready for it. Share with us, again, we're taking what you're applying to acting, actress, music career, whatever it might be. But what separates, because you're around so many talented people your entire life.
Right.
You've been sprinkled with all these talented people. You're working alongside one of the best in the business, no, hands down, Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Best act. Guy's a phenomenal talent. He could be hilarious. He could be serious.
Anything
in between. You got all that around you. You know excellence. You've been with, you've seen it, right?
Yes.
What separates the good from the elite in the industry?
Oh, of course. Their work ethic.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's true. I mean, you work with some actors who are, not necessarily method actors. They take their job serious. They come on time-ish because, celebrities have a notorious reputation for being late. It's like they come somewhat on time. Like they're in it, but they also feel like maybe it's like, I got this. I know what I'm doing already. So it's like, all right, it's cool. Like you could see when their passion is like really invested in something. And I think the artists who are invested in every project that they take on is the ones who stand out the most. Because I feel like if you're not passionate about something, then just don't do it. And I feel like that's like me. Like I've really developed not only a thick skin, but also just like a really good attitude when it comes to just not doing something that I don't want to do. Like there's auditions that I haven't gone on because I just didn't care for the role. I mean, I'll be honest. It was a Chris Rock movie, and I'm like, oh my God, Chris Rock, this is big, and I'm excited. And my first thing my agent says is, well, first of all, I'm your agent, so my job is to present you with auditions, and of course, it's at your discretion if you want to go or not. But I'm just letting you know this one's a little risque. And I'm like, okay, so risque. Okay, gotcha. I played an exotic dancer before, never fully nude, but I'm always clothed. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, okay, what are we talking about? What is the role? And the role was like, she was supposed to be an escort, but there's also a scene where she's going to be topless in a simulated sex with whoever gets the part, like for the guy. And I'm like, so first of all, my mind is like, so then I'm like, well, let me see the scene. So then the scene is like no more than like 3 pages where all of a sudden the guys want to have a party. These girls knock on the door. They're the escorts. They start laughing, playing. They're drinking alcohol. Next thing you know, it just goes into just bang, 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 topless. And then they leave. And it's like,
scene,
and for me, it doesn't serve a purpose because I'm like, okay.
Is that going to get you another role? Is someone going to see that and go, oh, now Porscha going to get the lead?
Right. I didn't understand it. I said it'd be different if it was like, I mean, perfect example, like Halle Berry, and I mean, in Swordfish and Monsters Ball. I mean, Charlize Theron. There's certain actors
Salma Hayek,
who have,
yeah,
certain actors have literally bared it all, done it all, and they got rewarded because of their vulnerability and because they stripped it down and they just were out there and they were doing it for the sake of the scene and for the movie. Every, perfect example, like Denzel Washington, like you believe him in Training Day. Like when you're watching that movie, you're like, you hated him because he's like, how could he be this awful? Like, there's certain characters that people take on where you're just like engrossed in watching what they're doing. So for me, it's like, okay, I love what I do. I've always been passionate about it. Am I scared or shy about my body? Not one bit. But do I feel like this role is going to be groundbreaking and take me to the next level and it's going to plateau me here? Absolutely not. I was like, it looked like I just did a whole porn scene, but for 3 minutes. If that's the case, then hey, go do porn and get good money like some of the people do.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So you have to pick and choose.
Well, I'm glad that you have the mindset, but that's because you had it built from a young age and you understand the value. You understand your own worth and you knew, like if that was maybe your third role, you may have looked at it differently. Like if I say no,
without question,
there's a girl who doesn't do it because whatever.
Without
but
question.
You're like, look, I don't need this. I've been doing this. I got a new Netflix show coming out.
Right. But and this was all prior to that. I just figured where I want to go, where I'm going to be, this is not going to serve a purpose. And then when I saw the movie and the scene was really short, like it was read, and then the girls that they hired, one was already a former reality television star who already had a sex tape that came out. And then another girl was like on the TV show was like a bottle girl. Like they were girls that obviously didn't mind doing what they did, but they also weren't lead actresses. They also hadn't had the credits that I had. So I felt more than confident and more than happy when I watched it, saying like, oh, absolutely not. I'm glad it wasn't me. And I'm glad I turned it down. You know?
Good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, nothing happens, you know?
Yeah.
So
something else you're doing, and we teased it, or I teased it at the beginning, you're doing some voiceover work, which is exciting. That's a whole other thing. Do you enjoy that?
Whole over thing. Yeah. It's absolutely fun. I mean, it's so little work. It's like
what kind of stuff are you working on?
Well, I say, okay, so I have an agency. I have two agencies. So my agency represents me for commercials, for television. I'm sorry, one represents me for television solely, but the other one represents me for voiceovers, you know, hosting, and anything that's interactive or on the digital side. So for me, voiceovers is so much fun because you could be in your pajamas, you can be in your slippers, you can be in a sports bra and sit right there on your little voice recorder, and just your voice is what is selling the job. And now it's become even more, you know, of a priority, because I would go to the actual auditions for voiceovers before. I would have to go to my agency to record them. Or if I was just getting capable of doing my own home recording, so I would do a couple at home. But other than that, you would go out to do it. I even have a voiceover now, a Netflix movie. I forgot the title because it just came out, where it's a scene, it's a German movie, but they go to a rap battle, and it's these girls that are rapping. So they're rapping in German, but they have to do the whole movie in English. So I'm playing a German rapper's voice in this movie, you know, and that's like so crazy. When you watch it, I'm like, that's crazy. That's my voice. And then I have a video game. If you guys go buy Anthem, really big video game that came out last year. As soon as you pop in the game, my voice pops up. I'm the narrator. I'm telling you how to play, what's going on in a world full of this and this and that. And then if you're like an hour into the game, once you meet the characters, then I'm one of the characters in there. It doesn't look like me, but it's my voice. So it's very cool just to see how that stuff comes to life. And I've really been blessed to do so many things in so many different areas. Like you said, I think I do them well. I don't think I do anything that I can't do well. Like I can't draw. I'm not going to be Van Gogh. I can't draw. So that's one thing I know I'm not going to do, but stuff that I know that I feel confident about, that I've clearly been paid to do and keep getting paid for, I know, okay, I'm not wrong. I'm actually good at this. So I
think that's awesome. Are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah, of course.
He's in social, and he's a great entrepreneur. One thing I learned from him is from his teachings and a couple books he has out is how important it is to understand your superpower and really drive with that.
Superpower. He's the key. Yeah.
The school system, again, I'm not trying to knock the system necessarily, but what tech tend to do and coaches tend to do is try to find our weaknesses and correct them, right? Nice. So the kid that can't throw a football, we're trying to spend all this time to teach him to throw a football.
Teaching him how to throw.
He could be a track star. He's the fastest in school, but you're like, hey, little Timmy's got to leave today, learn how to throw the ball. And I get it. We want everyone to have some well-versed skill, but then all of a sudden you took him away from what he could have just been the number one kid in the school, because you see that little Timmy is your star. He should be your running back. Forget about teaching him to throw. Teach him how to hold on to that ball and run to the end zone.
It's true. I love Gary. I mean, I remember his social media team reached out to me before. They're like, hey, we want to do some promo advertising with you. And once I was watching his videos, I was like, wow, like a lot of people love him. A lot of people hate him because he's just so bold and so direct. But I feel like more people need to be that way when it comes to, you know, sometimes they're children. It's like if your kid is walking around the house singing and dancing and they're like nonstop doing it, that might be a sign to you to say, hey, maybe I need to put them in a class or two. Let's see how they do this online thing, and just try to see if they have a passion for doing it without you telling them to do something. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of kids are naturally going to be drawn to what they are naturally inclined to do. I do feel that I was born to be an entertainer, that I was born to do what I'm doing because it's second nature to me. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to wake up and be like, oh my God, I have an audition today. Oh my God, I got to do a voiceover. Like every time I get something, I'm like, oh, it's exciting. I got another opportunity to show my talent. I got another opportunity to, for one, get paid to do what I love to do. Like you should always be doing something that you would be happy doing for free, but that you love getting paid for. And that's what it is for me with entertainment.
Yeah, there's a question that makes you think about that. It's like, if you can make whatever the number is, they usually use $1 million because it's
of
like
course
3% of people ever achieve that in a yearly basis or whatever.
Yeah.
Or less than 1%, whatever it is. So if you can make $1 million this year doing something, what would it be? And then it's like, well, why, if that's the thing you would do,
why aren't you doing it?
Yeah. Or
Yeah, I think people
to do
talk themselves out. Yeah. People talk themselves out of a lot of stuff because self-doubt creeps in. And I've learned, like I said, throughout the years, I've learned to be unapologetic about certain things that I know I want, certain things that I need, and knowing that, no, I'm going to go after that. And if you're not on the same path, no problem. I could still love you and we could still be cool. But my goal and my vision is over here. So I don't want that to be sidetracked with someone else's vision of what they feel I should be doing. And that happens when you're growing up and you're not sure of your voice yet. But as you get grown, then you realize, like, no, my voice does matter. You know, what I have to say does matter, like it, and it needs to be heard, because if you go right with everybody else's opinion, you're going to fall into the lane of what they're doing. But you could have been the next big entrepreneur, the next big, social speaker, the best motivational speaker, if you just stuck to what it is that you thought you should have been doing, but someone talked you out of it. So don't do that.
Environment's so big. A lot of times it's even the people that love us that kind of try to pull us down. It's not necessarily doing it intentionally.
It's subconsciously.
Yeah, some do, but I think some don't realize they're doing it, but they think hey, my son or daughter or brother or sister is not the next Zuckerberg, but why not? Like, why?
Yeah,
maybe they are.
Of course.
What if his
but the reason why they say that is because if he felt he was the next Zuckerberg, he would have been showing them every day that this is what I'm going to be. And after a while, people have to just understand that's what you're meant to do. That's what you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And again, if you're telling people something, but your actions are not following up with it, then therefore they're not going to believe you. Everything in life is about convincing somebody of something, right? So if you're going to go to the job and say, hey, I want this job because I know I'll be the best worker. I will deliver packages. I'm headstrong. I can make phone calls. When you go into that office, they're going to expect you to do your job because you sold them on you. But if you go in there and you're like, I think I can write a pack. I don't know. I don't know if I can make calls. I'm kind of shy. I don't know. Your own self-doubt is what's going to give people reason to say, well, you must not really be who you think you are because you're not following through with that. It starts with you.
Wow. That right there, I've done 35 episodes. When this comes out, it's going to be somewhere after that number. That may be the number one highlight that we've heard. And it's coming from an entertainer, but that is a business that could be applied to anything, man.
I'm I love business. I love the art of business and the art of teaching because that's what it comes down to. I don't care what industry you're in. If you have to sell and you have to convince people that you're good at something, you have to do just that. But it's never going to come from someone else giving you the pat on your back. Oh, you're so good, Porscha. Oh, I love your work. You're so talented. No, I have to believe and know that when I go into the room, I'm the best person for this part. And when you walk in and do that job, they're going to either believe you and say, yeah, you're right. Or they're going to say, you know what, she wasn't right for this, but I'm going to bring her in on something else. And that's happened to me over and over. As an actress, you hear that, oh yeah, good. But we went another direction. You hear that. I've seen that on commercials. But next thing you know, I get a call a couple months later. Hey, we have a part for you. That just happened to me on the show Good Girls. Like I auditioned to be a series regular on the show Good Girls. They went another direction. They did, because the girl that they hired is not an African-American actress. Sure. But I got a call 2 months later from my agency. They said, hey, Good Girls is looking for you. They want to see if you're available to do like 3 episodes. And I said, excuse me? Yeah. They just wrote a role for Porscha because they liked me enough and they knew what I could do, but it just wasn't for that. So you have to stick to what it is that you want to do, because people are at some point going to believe you because you're being true to who you are. Yeah. You believe it. And then but the point that you really hit home on is your actions. Like when they see it. Exactly. You got that crazy in you. Everyone's got that. Yeah, you got to convince people that it starts with you. Whatever people say, that's not what's going to start you or make you. Because people could say you're great. If you're not great, it ain't coming. And they're not. Exactly. Actions always speak louder to words than me. I feel like sometimes I should believe words more. But a lot of times I'm like, people can say whatever they want to say. They could say, I love you. They could say, you're amazing. They could say, I hate you. They could say all the above. But if their actions don't back up what they're saying, then it's like, well, then those words meant nothing. So I go always on what somebody's actions are. I'd rather you be quiet, not say a word, and just show me. So then that's true, because you're following through on what it is that you didn't say or what you did say. But either way, it happened. That's what I like. The biggest talkers are the ones that aren't doing as much. Exactly. The biggest talkers are the ones who aren't following through. Trying to prove it through words and not. Yeah. No. Wow. There's so much more we can talk about with it. It's okay. We'll do a part 2 for people eventually. We'll do a part 2 for them.
I'd love to have you back on the show. You're definitely someone, based on everything you're doing here, that you can be on the show probably 5 times and we'll still have more content.
Thank you. Exactly.
You talked about auditions first, and then I said I wanted to get back to it. What I want to understand is, can you kind of peel back the layers, or maybe remove all the smoke and mirrors behind the audition? So you get a phone call, or your agency does. They say, we want Porscha to come back to read this role, right? Okay. What does that look like? Is everyone lined up out the door waiting to take turns? What does an audition typically look like?
Sometimes it can be. It depends. I think for acting roles, for a certain, let's say if it's for a TV show, you all have set times. You show up at your time, picture in your resume. Sometimes they want it, sometimes they don't. Now that stuff is digital. You're waiting outside the room. You sign up on the sign-in sheet. They call you in the order you signed in on. You go in there, you slate your name. Hi, my name is Porscha Coleman. I'm represented by, if they ask you your representation, and you go right into the scene. Sometimes they talk to you beforehand. If they ask you if you have any questions, sometimes it's just right to the point. Walk in, say your name, slate, let's go. And you're like, you just got to turn it on. And that's the thing when it comes to acting. You have to be able to just turn it on. And same with music, I feel like for a live show, you may have a sucky day. You may have a headache, you may have cramps, you may have whatever, but you got to walk in the door and deliver.
Yeah, and they don't care. Of people waiting for you. And
you have, right. Because there's other people waiting to come in the room after you, and you want to know that you're going to be the most remembered. And I think whether you do great on the scene, or sometimes I've walked in a room where I'm like, oh my God, I did not do that great on the scene. I don't think I felt that good, but I felt like, well, I did my best, and I still winged it. I still put in other words that maybe weren't there, but I hope they felt it. And other times you're like, oh, I killed it. But then sometimes you say you killed it, you don't get a call back. But the time where you were unsure, you get it. So there's no way to really predict it, because again, this business is it's a business. It has nothing to do with your talent necessarily, because I feel like a lot of times I saw something, I said, I was more talented than them. Then other times I was like, but they don't look like I looked. So even if I had the talent, if they needed a certain look or they needed something different than what I was, it just is what it is. So the key thing that people should learn from listening to this is never take it personal, because it's not personal. Like they're looking, it's a business and it's a job. And if they're trying to find something that makes sense with an entire cast or an entire TV commercial or something, that's what they're looking for. And trust me, if they like you enough and remember you enough, which is always comes down to you, like I said, be true to yourself, because if you are that kind of person, you walk in the door, the next time they're going to be like, oh my God, I remember this person already. You were great. Cool. Now I'm just going to give it to you.
That takes so much maturity for you to get to that point. And I'm sure.
Oh, it does. It definitely does.
Yeah, time
helps
to get there.
Rejection is the name of this whole game. It's like if you have to have thick skin to do it. Like seriously, because if you don't, you're going to be like feeling like insecure. You're going to feel like, oh my God, I'm not worthy. You have to go in there knowing that it's not personal. It's just it's a job. My job is to go in there and do my best. If I walk out, know I did my best, and I don't get it, so be it. If I get it, hey, they loved it. Other than that, I walk out of the room. I forget about the audition. I go on about my day.
One of the sales books I was reading says, when you hear no, that just means you're closer to the next yes. And I mean, that's just kind of generic.
It's all good. One person's no is the next person's yes.
Or if someone cancels their appointment, you can get all bummed out. Your whole day could be ruined. It could be a big thing. Or you could say, now I got time to fill it in. I just found myself an hour of free time.
Of course.
That I didn't have.
It happens.
So it happens. If you're always solving for what I can do positive and move forward, you just get so much more positivity you can bring into the world. Are you ready for lightning round?
Yes, I am. Let's go.
You're born ready. We just talked about how you're ready for audition.
Born ready. Always ready.
I knew it wasn't a trick question, but here we go. Number one. Ready? Question number one. What is one new skill or positive takeaway from the quarantine?
One new skill. One new skill would have to be self-tapes. I mean, because now I have like a full lighting system. So it's self-tape, mastering the self-tape, angles, lighting, all that kind of good stuff. Because before we did it just, because it was like if you had a self-tape audition here or there, but it was so far in between. But now it's like I got lights, my walls are painted, everything is done. So yeah, that's the art of self-mastering.
Self-mastering. I love it.
Yeah.
So what is the ultimate accomplishment for you? You got so many things done. What would be the one thing, the ultimate accomplishment?
So ultimate accomplishment would be Grammy. For music, I want to win a Grammy on the music. I want to be number one on the charts for a song, whether I'm featured on someone's or whether they're featured on mine, and I want to have a Grammy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Are you working on anything now? Any new material?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been rocking it. Like I said, I have my home stuff set up here, my own studio here. And then of course, other studios that I go to record. So I'm absolutely working on music. So I'll definitely be letting you hear it soon, very soon.
Let's stay tuned in. And hey, you can definitely come back on. You might be my first guest to come back on a second time, and we'll talk about your new record. What are your favorite books, podcasts, inspirational content? Where do you go when you're dialing in?
Oh yeah. Well, I love, of course, audiobooks and podcasts are super great. So several of them that I listen to. I mean, my brother always refers a lot of good stuff. So I like listening to Amanda Seales has a really good podcast that she has that's on, Apple Music. I love listening to, honestly, like a lot of the TV shows. Like, to me, First Take is like a podcast. I like how, Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman are now, of course, even though they've always been political voices, for media. I like now how they're just really relating everything with the Black Lives Matter into what's happening with sports, and then sports into politics. So I like watching shows like that where people are talking and really going back and forth in a matter of in a great healthy way of debating their views. So I love listening to that. And then I like reading books. Like, I love astrology, so I read books on that. I like reading like Twitter is actually very good too. You just go to Twitter, what's the hot topics? I always stay very current. As a host, you're always looking to see what news is happening. And I plan on doing a show myself where it's like a morning show where I'm talking, sports, entertainment, and all the above. So it's coming.
Do you plan on so you're planning on doing a show, possibly sports entertainment?
It's basically I don't want to give it away, but it's absolutely, because it's like, okay, Wendy Williams talks about entertainment, you know what I'm saying? There's no sports element to her show, so it's about entertainment, it's about news, hot topics. But then for me, the sports side is so big, so I want to incorporate that sports element as well. But I'm also torn between doing just a sports after dark show too, because I know I can just have a whole show on that alone. So I might either combine them and do like just a regular, talk show type of situation where it's right here from home, quarantine edition, and then do a sports at night show, and then bring on like some of my favorite athletes that I know and that I work with to talk about their perspectives on what's going on now and the return to sports.
Yeah. So you're thinking about a podcast, though, is what it would be?
It would be, I like video. I would definitely, I want to do it like for sure on YouTube and for sure on Facebook Live and YouTube first, because again, I can save the footage. Even now, Instagram lets you thankfully go on live and it'll save the full live of it, which is awesome. Before you couldn't save the lives, you just live 24 hours, but now they've done it well.
Where the audio version could be on Spotify, and then the video version could be.
The video version, yes, because I have a Spotify, so yeah, so both. But I like the video format just first, because to me, video locks people in so much and so fast. And I have sound bites.
I agree. That's why people ask me all the time. They're like, "Is this audio only?" I'm like, "What does it take for?" We're doing Zoom.
Yeah,
may as well grab the video.
May as well grab the video. Yes,
turn it into a video promo. So awesome, great things there. Next question for you: if you can be known for only one thing, what would it be?
One role? You mean a role or only one?
Porscha Coleman, and they think this. What would it be?
Got you. For one thing, I would have to say Porscha Coleman, the superstar. To me, when you think of Jennifer Lopez, you don't think of her as one thing. You think of a music artist. You think of an entrepreneur. You think of her as the fly girl. You think of her as so many things. But at the end of the day, she's an entertainer. So I want them to think of Porscha, the entertainer.
Entertainer, yeah. I love that. Perfect answer, because you basically answered it. I tried to make you say a single answer, and you gave me super.
Yeah, because everybody now is multi-talented. So it's like, why just be one thing? An entertainer means you entertain. That's what I do. And it's just so many formats. Yeah.
Now, in coordinating this interview, we did a few emails back and forth over the last several weeks. Do you recognize or remember my tagline in each of my emails?
I saw it. I remember your signature. I love your signature. I don't recall. Okay.
Be great and be grateful.
Be great and be grateful. That's right.
Yes. So what are 3 things that you're grateful for?
Oh, I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful for my health. And I'm grateful for being alive. Yeah. That's where it starts. I'm grateful to be here to have all the things I could be grateful for. So grateful for life.
I think it's amazing, because it's like you don't want to take it for granted, right? That's why you're grateful for it. But I think to not list it, and it's okay. You could have said a number of things, right?
Yeah.
But to not start there, I mean, it might seem basic, but it's so deep compared to
exactly
right.
You got to be living to be grateful for something. So if you're not alive, you can't be grateful for your family. If you're not alive, you can't be grateful for your job. Like you're grateful to be still here, and a lot of people are dying. So I'm grateful to be here.
Absolutely. Yes. And I'm grateful for you being here too, because I learned a lot from you today. I think
so much fun.
I didn't know where it was going to go. I knew it was going to be hot today. I knew there was going to be a lot of topics, but I didn't know that we'd be talking as much as we did. We went down health. We talked COVID. We talked we did audition, your career.
Entertainment.
You dropped a bunch of bombs as far as some mindset things, which is really what the show is about. Taking those and applying them to whoever's listening. So if you can give one final wrap up message to our audience, what would that look like?
Follow your passion. Never give up. Follow your passion. Go with it. And don't give up. Don't let people sway you from doing anything else than what you want to do. If you know it's what you feel like you should be doing. Yeah, that is that is awesome. So guys, check out Porscha Coleman. She's at Porscha Coleman. PORSHSC. I got it right. PORSCHA Coleman. That's Instagram, Twitter, and also Facebook. And her website is PorschaColeman.com. Thank you so much. I will keep in tune with you and follow. Absolutely.
Looking forward to that next special coming out on Foxx as well.
Sounds good. We will chat soon. Bye, guys. Awesome. See you later. Bye.
Cheers. I love you guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. Check out more show notes and information on each episode at mikeduppodcast.com, MIKEDuppodcast.com. We're powered by Social Chameleon. You guys know what to do. Be great and be grateful.